Okay, now we are moving over to the measurement of national income. So what we have in our hand is GDP-MP, and our ultimate aim is to convert this GDP into NNP-FC. So in the previous classes we know how to convert each of these. So I have highlighted each one of it. G is for gross and N is for net. So we have to convert gross into net, that is the first step. And next we have to convert D, that is domestic to national, and we know how to convert market price to factor cost. We know all those things, right? So how to do that? Minus depreciation, GDP minus depreciation will give you NDPMP, and net domestic product at market price, when we add net factor income from abroad, we will get NNPMP, and we deduct net indirect tax from NNPMP, where we are converting market price to factor cost, where NNPFC. This is what we have been learning from the beginning, from the concepts. Once the concept is clear, I think this measurement of national income is all clear. We have different methods of national income, that is value added method, income method, and final expenditure method. In all the three methods, basically we are using the same procedure, that is we are converting from GDP-MP to NNP-FC. Only thing different is that the criteria that we take. Okay, under product method is also known as output method and value added method. At each stage, what is the value added to the product is being added together to get GDP-MP. So the first step is how to get GDP-MP. Right, so the output of all the sectors, we have three sectors in the economy. What all the three sectors? Primary sector, secondary sector, and tertiary sector is there. Value of output from all these three sectors are being added together to get GDP-MP. We can also have GDP-MP as GVA-MP, that is gross value added at market product. Okay, so goods and services from primary sector plus goods and services from value of goods and services from secondary sector and from tertiary sector is added together to get GDP-MP. How do we get? Almost same. Sometimes the data which they gave will not have any of this categorized income of primary, secondary, and tertiary. So they will be basically giving value of output and intermediate consumption. So we need to deduct value of output minus intermediate consumption to get GVA-MP. So GDP-MP and GVA-MP is one and same. Once you get GDP-MP, rest is same. We deduct depreciation to get NDP-MP. Now that we have NDP-MP, we need to convert the domestic into national. We have to add net factor income from abroad. Now we have NNP-MP. We know that national income is NNP-FC, so we need to convert MP to FC, which we will do by minus NIT, that is IT plus subsidy. Right? Like that we will get national income under product method. Product method is considered to be more suitable for agriculture sector because it is very easy to categorize or to measure the final value of goods and services. Right? This is one of the example which you can go through, where primary sector, secondary sector, and tertiary sectors earning has been given separately and how they are being added together to get national income. Another method of calculating national income is income method, which is considered to be more reliable method as well. The only difference between product method and income method is that the first step itself we start from GDP-FC. Make a note of it. We are not starting the calculation of national income under income method with GDP-MP. We are starting with GDP-FC because already when we take all the income of the people or of different sectors, we actually get FC, because FC factor cost is the cost of factor of production. Land, labor, capital, and organization is the factors of production, and what are the income they receive for providing these services is what is basically FC. So directly when we take all the income, we are actually taking factor cost. So there is no need to convert from MP to FC. The first step itself is GDP-FC. So one step is deducted in here in income method, where the first step itself is GDP-FC. Because when we take income of all the people, we are taking it at factor cost. that is wage, rent, profit, and interest is what we said factor cost, right? Remember? So that is factor cost. So GDPFC is the first step that we arrive at. Rest is same. We know that we have to reach at NNPFC, right? So now we have GDPFC, we need to convert that gross into net. We deduct depreciation to get net domestic product at FC. We know that we are still at domestic, we need to convert it to national, where we add net factor income from abroad. NNPFC is derived, that is our national income. So the only difference is here is that minus NIT to convert MP into FC is not required under income method, because when we take income of all the people, we are actually taking that as a factor cost. So no need to convert it, because value of goods and services are considered on the basis of factor cost, not on market price over here. When we take income, that is factor cost, right? It is not the value of the final goods and services which are being taken over here. Okay, it's another example of income method which you can go through, where wages, profit, farm income, all of these things are there, and how it is being given. Another method of calculating national income is expenditure method, where expenditure of different sectors are being added together to get GDP MP. Okay, so here also it's same like that of product method. We start with GDP MP. Even though I have not mentioned it in the slide, GDP MP is what we are starting with. How do we get GDP MP? Expenditure of different sectors. There are 4 sectors, as we know: domestic sector, business sector, government sector, and foreign sector. Each sector ka consumption is what we take. Domestic sector consumption expenditure, see, that's what do household spend on. Business expenditure, investment expenditure, that is basically expenditure of business sector. Government expenditure, that is expenditure of government sector. And net export, that is basically expenditure of foreign sector. So totally the national income identity that comes over here is C plus I plus X minus M. X is for export and M is for import. This is how we arrive at GDP MP. Rest is all the same. From gross to net, you deduct depreciation. Domestic to national, you add net factor income from abroad. And here also it is GDP MP, so you need to convert into FC. So you minus NIT, that is NNPFC, you get NNPFC. So that procedure in which we get national income is all same for all the procedure, all the methods. Only different here is income method, where we are starting with GDP FC. In product method and expenditure, we start with what we have in our hand, or the first step is GDP MP. Okay, one step is less in income method, that's it. Okay, this is another example to show expenditure method. You can go through that. Okay, this is some of the difficulties in calculating national income, okay, which we will deal in the next class.